Honestly, I'm very impressed with just how realistic the training Izuku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are receiving in this arc. And I kind of want to go over it and just really take a moment to appreciate Horikoshi's writing. How he's really going the extra mile to really not give us just a random power-up and actually see a realistic growth in the characters. So let's just dive right into it. Endeavor mentions something that is what even us, in real life, what we do on a day-to-day basis and how we improve as individuals. And it amazed me, because I've really never stopped to think about what Endeavor mentioned within this, chapter of My Hero Academia. He stated that everybody, at one point in time, they don't know how to drive, which is true. I mean, at one point I didn't know how to drive, and I had to learn how to drive, and you're constantly thinking about what you need to do. You need to turn on the car by, twisting the key. You need to make sure you put yourself in reverse, park, etc. You need to make sure you have your gauges all set properly. You need to make sure you do your blinkers, all that. And when you are first starting out driving, there's just so many things you have to process and think about. But as you continue to drive over time, it becomes second nature. It becomes basically an extension of your body. Using a vehicle to drive feels so simple. I mean, in this day and time, while me driving since I've drove for years now, it's very simple. I don't really think too hard about, oh, I need to put my blinker on. I just do it subconsciously. Or, putting in park, etc. It happens. I don't put too much thought into it. And seeing Endeavor mention something like that really blew me away. I was just really taken aback by just how realistic that really is to really have Deku grow in a way. I honestly thought it was going to be a lot more complicated than that, but it really isn't, and it makes sense too. It's not like it comes out of nowhere. If Izuku just does repetition, he constantly does the same thing over and over, and he makes it a habit, it'll become second nature to him. That's kind of how Full Cal is to him, how he uses One For All currently to be able to power up his entire body, give himself a boost. He's done it now so much that it's subconscious. He doesn't really need to think too hard about it, to micromanage, turning it on, etc. He just knows the feeling of it. It's kind of like learning the feeling of something, feeling it out. And even though it seems very hard to understand from someone that doesn't know how to do it, it actually is the best way to describe it. It takes time of constantly trial and error and basically practicing and making it a habit to make it something that you could just do without even thinking about it, which kind of goes along with Izuku's main issue as a fighter right now, because micromanaging his fighting style is super freaking difficult, and it would get him killed if he continues to think like this. And that is the big thing here, is that if he continues to use one ability slowly and subconsciously start incorporating it into his fighting style, then eventually he will know everything without really having to think too hard about it, which kind of makes you wonder about All Might in some ways. It seems like All Might, the way he kind of acquired his ability to be able to just use One For All instantly, there's probably a lot of cases or reasons for this. It's probably because it just came to him easy, because subconsciously he just got into a habit of it very quickly of how to adjust his power. Who really knows? But the point is that it seems like it is something all humans are technically capable of, and it's being applied to Izuku. And also to Bakugo, Todoroki, etc. All heroes technically in their own sense follow this same logic that Endeavor pointed out. And like I said, it's been in our face the entire time, and it makes so much sense, but it's just not something you really think about because it's the subconscious part about it. So yeah, big little win. I think that's a big win for the story, and also just giving us actual believable growth for Izuku that just does not feel over the top or ridiculous. But all it's going to take is time. It's going to take time and effort for him to really grow to be able to do something, especially against, someone like Shigaraki. But like I said, time, we'll see. But anyways, let's get into the other big detail. One of the main messages that Endeavor was really trying to convey to the three within this chapter, and that is failure. In this brief opportunity, this brief window of them being able to participate in hero activities with Endeavor, they're being given something that is very rare. They're being able to witness how the #1 hero operates. Now, automatically, this is a major win. This is major knowledge to gain from him. But there's another level that you could take from this. And that is, it's not just the fact you get to see how the #1 hero operates, but you get to operate as a hero without any consequences, so to say. I mean, there could be, technically, if you're not good at your job, but overall, you know, they technically can succeed and fail, because if they fail, Endeavor is strong enough and good enough, and his agency is good enough to be able to cover the trio if they mess up and are not able to save a person's life. So overall, you know, this is the main theme of what Endeavor's trying to convey to them. That in most hero agencies, if you're a hero on active duty, working, etc., saving people, you don't have time to play around. Failure is not an option. That is a big, crucial detail that I think many might take for granted, is that while they're in school, they're operating with classes, getting test results, etc., you know, they can fail. They can get a bad grade, and they could come back and redo it again. For instance, with Bakugo and Todoroki, how they failed their license exam and they had to retake it. If, for instance, they were in a real-life situation and they had to go up against a villain, etc., like that what happened, and they messed up, that costs lives. That's a major problem, which is why they failed. And so because that main issue is that failure is an option. If you fail as a hero, people die. And that was what Endeavor said. This isn't school. This isn't a test. This is real life. You make one error, you too slow, etc., it's over for so many. And that was a big, big part of the chapter that he was trying to convey. And he's like, even if you can't succeed right now, you're not able to succeed and save someone faster than I can, you're able to fail right now because I'm good enough to cover you. It's arrogant in a way, but it is actually something that they really need to take advantage of, because it's a rare opportunity that they could be in a situation actually doing hero work, real hero work, and not have to worry about failure. So that is something that they really need to gain from Endeavor to better themselves. They're really getting to firsthand experience what real life is and feel the weight on their shoulders of saving people. I mean, Izuku's technically already experienced this once. He's experienced this with the muscular fight. He thought he was going to die, but he gave it his all. He knew if he died and he dropped right then and there against muscular, an innocent boy was going to die behind him. So Izuku has personally already experienced something to a similar extent, but at this time, it's safer. This is a safer training course for them, but it's not something you would normally receive, because any random hero agency wouldn't probably be able to cover these trio like they are right now easily. There would have to really be a lot of steps to take to make sure if they fell, it isn't necessarily a failure all around. Let's talk about one of the big things I noticed about this chapter, and I really respect Todoroki for mentioning it. He talks about his father, Endeavor, and how his movement is absolutely ridiculous. When we've seen him move before. We've seen Endeavor move around in the Stain arc. We've seen him move against High End. We know Endeavor is incredibly fast. He definitely knows how to control his quirk to such a high degree. And one of these days, Todoroki is going to be capable of this. Definitely. He will definitely be capable of probably going as fast as Endeavor, or even faster. Because if he mixes in, you know, his ice and fire together, it's no telling how fast he could really go if he mixes both elements and causes, like, explosions, etc. You know, superheats and freezes the air, he could probably move incredible distances. And basically, he was analyzing his father's, like, now that I know how, you know, my quirk works and kind of can look at it firsthand how my father moves around, it's impressive. It's honestly impressive just how much control he has to be able to make his supercharged heat move in such a way to where he's able to glide that fast. It takes so much precision and control to do that, which is just not something that any normal individual can. It just goes to show how far Endeavor trained himself to really reach his level with his quirk usage. And one day Todoroki will have those capabilities, and like I said, even better. And Bakugo, obviously, he's getting to that point where he pretty much can do that too. And I do like how he was kind of talked about, like, kind of put down by Endeavor in this chapter, kind of like a wake-up call. He's like, look, Bakugo, you're able to keep up with me, but just because it's winter, etc., and, you know, because of that it's slowing you down, doesn't mean you should use that as an excuse, because once again, you can't use an excuse when someone dies. You have to save someone. And so, once again, this is some training for Bakugo. He needs to realize that excuses don't matter. There is no excuses. If someone dies in your area, it's technically your fault. You have no other way to go about that. You cannot refute that fact. So, there's just so much learning going on here. Bakugo's learning, Todoroki's learning, Izuku's obviously learning. It's just an all-around great chapter to see the growth of these three. And as I already said in the previous chapter review, if you love Todoroki, Bakugo, and Izuku, one of these characters or all three, you're gonna thoroughly enjoy these chapters. Like, this is an amazing arc. Like, I'm really loving this arc right now. And I really gotta say, like, after the high that was My Villain Academia, I thought that the upcoming arc, the arc after it, was gonna probably be like, meh. Like, I want to be honest, because the My Villain Academia arc was just incredible, and nobody can disagree. That was an amazing arc. But because of how amazing that was, it's going to be hard to make something that's able to live up to just the high expectations that was, but it seems like this arc is actually doing that. And one of the other things we need to take away from this arc is that the training that these three are receiving is going on for everyone. Pretty much everyone a part of the school is going to be at one point or another receiving this training because they're getting prepped for war, which is against the, Shigaraki's group. Since they have so many people a part of their group now, the Hero Society needs as many as they can. They need quantity. They really need quantity, and it's something that's been popping up for a long time now that, they're thinking quantity is better than quality. Since they no longer have a hero like All Might, they need to be able to throw as many heroes up against the villains as possible, and that's what's happening right now. So I do think that just this training, is something that's leading to the outcome of the future fight, and it still does make me wonder, because I mentioned it a few videos ago and all that with a discussion like a few weeks back about how My Hero Academia seems to be entering into its final stages, because Horikoshi hasn't really tried to hide the fact that we're getting closer and closer to the final arc. I mean, with the whole movie discussion and basically the recent movie that's coming out or whatever, it's going to be the finale, like the final movie, because it's something that he kind of dedicated for the final arc, or the final arc to come, basically. It kind of mentions that, My Hero is reaching into the endgame. And I mean, when you really think about what's going on with Shigaraki, he definitely is building up to that point, pretty much endgame at this time. And so it does make me wonder, I mean, are we going to have a situation to where there might be a part 2 to My Hero Academia? I'm starting to wonder that because of just where the story is going. Because even if we have the war going on right now, okay, like once this arc is done, maybe a little mini arc beforehand, I do sense that we're going to get into the big war arc. And if that does happen, there's only a couple ways it can go. Either the world is forever going to be changed, it's going to become dark and depressing, and then someone's going to have to rise up from the gloom, which would be Izuku and a bunch of other heroes, to really shine a light and become the next symbols, or, they're going to win against Shigaraki and the world is going to be saved. And if that's the case, the story is over, because Shigaraki has been built up as the finale. So once he's defeated, basically, that kind of signifies the end. Now, obviously, there's always going to be more villains, but just with how much build-up Shigaraki's got, he is the nemesis of the story. So, I have so many questions. I really do. But getting back on topic, I'm sorry, I got a little bit off track from what I was trying to talk about. Just, this arc really is just blowing me away. It's easily keeping up with the quality that has been presented already in the previous arcs, and I can't wait to see more. I honestly cannot, because it truly shows that Horikoshi has just gotten so much better as a writer as time goes on, really just giving so much little details and growth to Todoroki, Bakugo, and Izuku, and just taking their, characterization to a whole new level. So, yeah. One last thing, though, I do want to talk about, though, before I wrap up this video, is the fact that Izuku and Bakugo are being invited to Endeavor's household. That's, interesting. Because this, from our understanding, this is a rare thing, because Todoroki doesn't really have friends, or really hasn't had friends. This is kind of the first time he's probably ever brought people over, is gonna bring people over. If that is the case, there is a likely chance that Bakugo and Izuku might find out the truth about Endeavor. Now, if that does happen, I do wonder how Todoroki would react to it, but also how Izuku and Bakugo would react. Now, I don't think Bakugo and Izuku would spill the beans. They're not those type of individuals that would just straight up talk to the public, etc. what happened, because it's none of their business, and they already keep their own secrets. I mean, Bakugo and Izuku keep the secret about One For All with All Might, so it's very obvious that they would keep Todoroki and Endeavor's secret, but I do wonder if that's where the arc is leading. If, Endeavor's going to be exposed. The true personality of him and what he has done will be exposed to all three, for, Bakugo and Izuku to see and discuss with Todoroki. It really has me interested. And if that does happen, I mean, it seems like it might be building up to that point where Endeavor might be exposed as well to finally, probably have to talk about his crimes and what he's done to his family. But that's for discussion for later. Let me know your thoughts though in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.